Okay, today I'm going to show you in Photoshop how to take this picture right here of Venice and change it, make it better. So you're going to want to save that picture to your folder. There's also a photograph of some clouds that we're going to put in the sky, and you're going to save that to your folder as well. I've already saved these two images to my folder, so I'm just going to open them both. There's my clouds, there's Venice. I can open them both at the same time. When I do, they're going to be in tabs, so don't panic if you only see one at a time. It's okay, they're in tabs. We're going to start with this picture of Venice, and we're going to zoom in just a little bit. The first thing we want to do to change this picture is use the crop tool. The crop tool is the fifth one down on the toolbar, and it's going to cut off the black edges around the outside of the picture. So we get this bounding box on the outside of the image. You can drag the sides and you can drag the corners, but it's not necessarily straightening this up, and that's what we need it to do. So if you move your mouse outside of this box, you'll see that the mouse becomes a curved arrow. And when it is a curved arrow, you can click and drag, and it actually spins the photograph around. When it does that, then you'll be able to adjust and straighten out a whole lot more easily. So I'm just going to fix this up perfectly and just about right. Once you have the crop exactly how you think you want it, you're going to push the Enter key on your keyboard and it straightens the picture up. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so you can see it better. That's my cropped picture. First step, so far so good. The next thing I want to do is adjust the levels. This whole thing looks washed out. So if I go to Image Adjustments Levels, or I want to push Control L on my keyboard, that's both items will bring up the same histogram panel. So Image Adjustments Levels right here. It's going to bring that up for me. And this is what it brings. I'm going to move these three triangles. Remember, we tried this the other day. So the dark one on the left, I'm going to drag toward the right. And you see how the colors get more dark and more vibrant. You can bring it in where you think it looks right. I think that looks pretty good. And the light one on the right, you're going to bring in this way. The one in the center, you can move that back and forth to your liking. Once you have it just how you want it, though, you're going to click OK, and that's the change. If ever you want to see a before and after, you can actually open up your history panel. It's right here. This is the history panel. And I'm going to pull mine out just a little larger so you can see the whole thing. I can go back up a step, and that's what it looked like before I did levels. That's what it looks like after. So before I cropped it, after I cropped it, after I added the levels. You can see the changes here. The next thing I want to do is I want to clean up some of the things in this image that may not be perfect. And remember, I'm going to use that Alt key and the scroll wheel on my mouse. I want to get rid of this boat that's out in the middle of the water. The scene is kind of pretty, but that boat just makes it look kind of tacky. So the thing I'm going to use to get rid of that is called the Clone Stamp tool. The Clone Stamp tool looks like a rubber stamp. It's right below the paintbrush, right above the art history brush. That's the Clone Stamp tool. Be sure that you don't get the pattern stamp tool. That's just going to confuse you at this point because you'll wind up with a very strange pattern in the middle of your photograph. The Clone Stamp tool actually gets a size to it. I'm going to pull that size down to about 15 or 20. I've got 18, that's fine. Is going to basically pick up something from one part of the image and just paint it onto another part of the image. So in order to do this, I'm going to need to use both hands again. I'm going to put my finger on the Alt key, ALT, which is just right next to my key, to the spacebar on my keyboard. Push Alt, and I'm going to select somewhere right in this area by clicking. When I do that, it's deciding that that's the source I'm going to draw from. Now I'm going to move my mouse back up here with my finger off the Alt key, and I'm going to just basically use that water to paint over the boat. The boat's gone. What usually happens the first time someone does this trick, though, is they say Alt and they click on this water and they paint over this boat, and then they go a little too far. Don't go a little too far. When you do this Alt, click, and paint trick with the Clone Stamp tool, it's replicating whatever you've drawn your source from. So if I clicked and let go with Alt on the water, I need to be very careful about how far I drag, because if I go too far, I start building a second boat or building extra buildings. You can Alt click as many times as you want if you think the water's going to look good that way. So that's sinking the boat. The next thing we want to do in this picture is we would like to, let's fix this. No, let's fix the buildings here. We're going to use 3 different tools here. I got the dodge, the burn, and the sponge tool. To fix the buildings, I'm going to use the burn tool. Now, I'm not going to do the best job of this because I'm going to try to hurry so that I can keep my video short. But the burn tool will take things that are kind of faded and it will darken them. I think you might want to change your brush size on the burn tool. I'm going to pull mine to somewhere between, like right around 20. If you don't hit right at 20, like mine's at 21, that's okay. It's more of a rough estimate than a necessary digit there. With your burn tool, if you just drag, click and drag, you can see that you'll darken the buildings. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Actually, let me pause my video and I'll do the burn tool and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I've kind of gone through and done most of what I need done with the burn tool. If you just keep scrubbing on it, it might turn too dark and that's a problem. But I didn't want to spend a whole minute having you just watch me scrub back and forth with the burn tool. I think you get the general idea that if you use it like a paintbrush, it kind of brings out the vibrancy of these buildings. What I'd like to do next is show you the dodge tool's role in this. This is not a very large role in the process. In fact, I think it's just in the lesson to make you remember what the dodge tool does. I'm going to bring my brush size down to like 9 or 10. And I'm going to zoom in down here. Now we're going to make this look like a sunny day. And when we make it look like a sunny day, we're going to try to see if we can get it to look like the sun is shining down on this boat. So in order to do that, we're going to put a little bit of dodge tool on this edge. When you do that, it kind of makes it brighter. It's not that, it's kind of a subtle change, but it goes from here to here. Oh, incidentally, to see the difference between before the burn tool and after the burn tool, if you're interested, I used the burn tool a lot. Okay, that was the beginning. After the burn tool. After the dodge tool. Sometimes when you take a million steps like that, it doesn't let you go all the way back to the beginning. Alas. The next thing we're going to do is use the sponge tool. It's the 3rd one in that little grouping. And I'm going to set this to saturate. It's very important you set it to saturate. If you set it to desaturate, it's going to make things more black and white. If you set it to saturate, it's going to make the colors more vibrant. Right here, I'm going to take my brush size down to 40 is good, actually. I kind of perfectly hit 40. Just a couple little swipes over the top of the blanket is going to make it look kind of like the sun is shining on it. If you go too far, it's bound to turn into this, which looks kind of garish and circus-like. So don't go too far. Just a couple little swipes. Very pretty. Before. Perfect. Too far, right? So you want it to be just a few little swipes over that. I'm going to hurry up here just a little bit because I want you to see how to put the clouds in the sky. The clouds in the sky are kind of a neat trick. I'm going to use something called the magic wand tool, and that is hiding underneath the quick selection tool. Magic wand is right there. The magic wand selects things like we talked about in the last tutorial, selects the things by the range of colors that you have available. So the magic wand is the perfect thing to select the sky because the sky is uniformly this kind of gray-white color. I'm going to click that magic wand tool and I'm going to click that sky. And it does a pretty good job of picking up the whole sky. If you've gone too far with the burn tool, you may need to select a little more specifically down here. But the way you do that is by holding down the shift key and clicking on extra parts. Now I'm going to actually hold down the shift key and I'm going to get the pieces I missed. There's a piece right over here on the far left. Now I've got 2 pieces of selection. There's a piece here between these 2 poles. And there's a piece right over here, this little sliver of a piece. If you look at what I have selected, it's now the whole sky. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to leave this right here, and then I'm going to go over to this tab where the clouds are. In this tab, I'm going to select all the clouds. Several ways to do that. I can take my rectangular marquee and draw one around it. I can go to select and tell it to select all. I can hit Control and the letter A on my keyboard, and it honestly doesn't matter which one you do. You just want to draw a box around it, in whatever manner you wish. But you do have to copy that. So I'm going to copy and paste it, but I'm going to paste it in a real special kind of way. So here's my edit copy. Got it copied, and then I'm going to go back to Venice, and I'm not going to say edit paste. If I say edit paste, it's going to do this, and that's not what I want. I'm going to say edit paste special paste into. When I say edit paste special paste into, it does this. All right, so let me see what else I've got to do. The last thing I would like to change is the color of this orange kind of tarp down here in the bottom right-hand corner. I'm going to zoom in on that space. And actually, if I try to do anything to it right now, it's not going to let me, because right now I'm sitting on layer 1. And that tarp is on the background layer. So I'm going to have to click on the background layer to select it, and that's how I'm going to be able to change this color. Some of you have asked about how to change the color of an item. This is exactly it. First of all, I'm going to take this rectangular marquee out for a spin. I'm going to draw a marquee around this area. I'm doing this so that I don't affect change anywhere outside of this space. I don't want to have to turn around and see that I've changed a building color by accident. I'm just going to change color inside of here. So draw a box around this. Try to get the entire triangle down here and this L shape right here, but nothing else. Just a box right there. Then go to Image, go to Adjustments, and go to Replace Color. It's second from the bottom. And that pops up right on top of what I'm looking at. So I'm going to pick it up and scoot it over to the side. When I do this, I'm going to use what this mouse becomes an eyedropper, and I'm going to use that eyedropper to select the orange color I'm looking for. You see when I do that, it actually changes this little thumbnail image. I'm going to hold down Shift and try to grab more and more and more of that. Okay? In order to change it, I'm going to move these 3 sliders down here. It should do a pretty good job of changing that color. It's not getting the whole thing, so I may take my Shift key and click some more space because I'd like to get the whole thing. So if you want to change the hue, hue means color. If you want to change the hue, you surely can. I'm not particular about which color you change it to. You can change it to whatever color pleases you. It's not orange because it's already orange. And saturation, see that? How vibrant is that color? And lightness, change the fuzziness, but that tends to get awfully strange when you do the fuzziness. Once you're happy with your result, you'll click OK, and you'll deselect it. Select Deselect or Control D. You zoom back out. That's not the best job I've ever done on this, but I was trying to knock it out in under 15 minutes, and I think I did okay. There's only one thing I want to do still, and that is to flatten down these layers. I want to push these 2 layers together so they stay together. It's going to be right here under Layer, and down at the bottom. If all the layers are going to get squished together, you tell it to flatten image. The reason you do this is to conserve file space. So if you're trying to save a bunch of stuff to a folder and you think you're going to run out of room, and you're done editing, you're going to flatten your image. That's down to 1 layer. That takes less room. The last thing you want to do is go to File and go to Save As. And you're going to navigate to your folder. Right now, this is saving as a bitmap. If you would like to save the Photoshop document, you surely can. But if you wanted to use it outside of Photoshop, a bitmap is perfectly fine. There's some pretty universal file formats. That's one of them. This JPEG right here, there are 3 options for some reason for JPEG. If you're going to make a JPEG, which is the most universal graphic format I can think of, use the top one. Okay? If you want to make it a JPEG. You can make a bitmap, you can make a JPEG, you can make it a PNG, whatever makes you happy, as long as you can open it up and show it to me when you're done. Okay? I'm going to save this and say OK to these options, and that's your lesson, folks. Thanks.